Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be talking about the general application process for breaking into finance and/or consulting, the reasons and mistakes that I made during my first year that meant I wasn't able to get any spring week offers, and finally the changes that I made in between my first and second year of university that enabled me to get multiple successful offers from various large financial firms across the consulting, investment banking, and asset management / infrastructure private equity space.
Hey guys, so this is future Aravind speaking right now. I'm just currently editing the video, and I realized that in order to cover all three sections of this video that I had planned, it's taking about half an hour, which is probably a bit too long to upload as one single YouTube video. So what I'm going to do is break this video down into two separate subparts as two separate YouTube videos. The first one will cover the application process, and the second one will talk about the mistakes that I made during my spring weeks and how I was able to course correct in order to get several internship offers in my second year.
Before I begin with the rest of the video, I'd just like to say a massive thank you for all the support, encouragement and advice that I've received for my first channel introduction video. It's really nice to know that you guys are behind me, and please keep supporting me by liking the video, sharing my videos, commenting and letting me know what you want to see, and continue to give me words of advice and support in any ways that you think I can improve. Without further ado, let's get on to the main part of the video. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the general application process for breaking into finance in the UK. And keep in mind, it's slightly different for consulting, but it generally tracks the same. So the first real part or process of breaking into finance is something called spring weeks. And you apply for these typically during your first year of university, and the actual program itself takes place during the Easter break. These programs are effectively shadowing programs, so for the most part, the intention is for any successful applicants to get a better understanding of the bank specialities, the different roles and responsibilities of the analysts and associates at the bank, the different functions of the different divisions at the bank, and they are also meant as a way of assessing this potential pool of candidates and fast-tracking some of them towards the summer internship. Okay, so in terms of the application process for spring weeks, you typically have to provide a CV and a cover letter. You might be asked to do numerical, verbal, logical reasoning tests, and this is all done online. You'll then be asked to do video interviews. A really common platform for those is something called HireVue, and effectively that is a preset set of questions that you have to provide responses to. If you're successful after that, you might be invited to a phone or in-person interview, and if you're then successful with all of that, you will be offered a spring week offer to join the bank in the Easter break. Some spring weeks convert and others do not. And by that, I mean that certain spring weeks offer successful applicants the potential to take part in something that is known as an assessment centre. And this is a half a day long kind of series of interviews with different members of the bank, where you discuss kind of motivational, competency and technical questions. And if you're successful, you will be offered a place on the summer internship. Others, you will be directly converted into a summer internship straight away, and there's no real assessment centre. But this really varies from bank to bank. And as I say, certain banks do not convert at all. So the next real part of breaking into the world of finance comes in the form of summer internships. And you do those during the summer of your second year of university. Now, if you are able to successfully convert your spring week, congratulations, it's very straightforward, there's no real application process. However, if the spring week doesn't convert, or you weren't able to gain any spring weeks in the first place, then you really have to go through the entire application process again. And the application process is pretty much identical to that of the spring week, the only difference being that if you make it to the kind of phone interview or in-person assessment centre stage of the hiring process, the questions asked tend to be a lot more technical. You're now a year older, so there's an expectation that you will have done a bit more research and have a bit more understanding, especially on kind of the technical side. So the questions asked relative to a spring week interview are a bit more difficult. In terms of duration, typically internships last between 8 to 10 weeks. And given that most students finish their university experience in kind of June and restart in September, typically you're only able to do one spring week per year. However, I do know of candidates who have been able to do two, but typically, though that's only the case when both of the spring weeks are of shorter durations, maybe 3 to 4 weeks each. A few key differences between the summer internship and the spring week is kind of the nature of work that you do, and also the fact that you are compensated financially for your summer internship, which is not the case for your spring week. So in terms of the work that you actually do in the summer internship, the summer internship is effectively a way for the financial firm to assess whether you are good enough to actually be hired as a full-time graduate once you finish university. And so because of that, you tend to work very, very closely with the actual team that you apply for. So for example, you might actually be asked to provide or work with PowerPoint presentations, produce financial models, and generally do some of the actual day-to-day tasks that an actual analyst would do or perform at the financial firm. And as I say, they do this because they want to actually know, the bank or the financial firm wants to know whether you are actually capable of learning over the period of 8 to 10 weeks and also produce the kind of standard of quality of work that they are looking for. As I mentioned earlier, you are actually paid for taking part in your summer internship. And this is because you're actually doing work that is beneficial for the team you are working for. In terms of how much you'll be paid, you're eventually paid a pro rata salary. And what that means is take the full year salary that a graduate analyst earns, you'll effectively earn the 2-month equivalent of that salary. In terms of how you're assessed during your summer internship, a part of it is typically kind of assessed continually, in that the other members of the team will kind of assess your work and evaluate how it is to kind of work with you on a day-to-day basis. After all, they want to be able to work with you day in, day out if you're able to successfully convert your summer internship into a full-time role. But often there is also an element of a final project. You'll be asked to produce some sort of key deliverable and maybe provide a presentation. For example, research into an industry, a financial model that you have to walk through, something like that. And because they want to have something physical that they can assess. They want to be able to see that you are able to produce a high quality piece of product that the bank or financial firm may actually derive value from. If all goes well during your summer internship and the bank is actually looking to convert summer interns into full-time graduates, then you will most likely receive a full-time graduate offer to join the bank once you graduate after your final year of university. However, if you're unable to convert your summer internship, maybe due to your performance, or also if the bank is generally just not looking to convert its summer interns, which does actually happen, especially during difficult economic periods, for example, COVID or during a recession, etc., then unfortunately you will have to start the entire application process again, but this time just for a graduate hire. So the graduate applications are really the last or final part of the application process of breaking into finance, at least at the university level. And the application process itself is very, very similar to that or at the summer internship level. By that I mean it's normally a CV and cover letter, followed by online tests, a online video interview, phone interviews, and then in-person assessment center or in-person interviews. Typically in that order.
Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching the first part of this 2-part series. Stay tuned for the next part where I'll be talking about the mistakes that I made during my when applying for spring weeks, and how I was able to rectify those mistakes when I was applying for my summer internships. That should be out sometime soon. I hope you enjoyed this first part. Please like this video, share it, and give me any useful suggestions or helpful advice or guidance in the comment section down below. Thanks so much guys, and see you soon.